Wednesday, the Turners Novices Hurdle then. All right, DC, you first of all. This horse has got headgear on, hasn't it?
So do I know. I haven't got the race card up.
Oh, no, sorry, tongue tie. First time tongue tie for Potter's Charm.
Yeah, I think he's been a really forgotten horse. He was so good at the start of the season, and maybe because he was beaten there in trials day there in January, that like they seem to kind of lost a bit of the luster. But so good at the start of the season, had 2 wins in the course, 1 over course distance, absolutely destroying Valgrand. Again, followed up at entry there at Christmas. Maybe that took a bit out of him. He was dropped 2 miles. He is following a very similar prep to the new one, who I think he was beaten on trials day when came back to win the Ballymore as it was then, or the Neptune or whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called now, as the Turners. He's 15.0. I just think that's way too big a price for a horse with course form. That's going for him, and I'll have him definitely as a win place bet.
Okay, Matt Tombs.
Yeah, he very much the trends horse, isn't he, Potter's Charm? Because he's got the 2 mile Grade 1 form from the Formby. So I'll be kicking myself if he wins, because that's the way I've bet this race for years and years. I'm just slightly concerned that in recent years, the Mullins A-team are in this. Sir Gerhard, Impere Pass, Ballyburn, they've been the speed horse, the 2 miler. And now they've got the stayer in Final Demand. And the vibes are they've cottoned on that you've got to go a decent gallop on a stayer in this, because otherwise it turns into a test of speed and you get done for toe. So if he goes out, Paul, and makes it a proper gallop, I think he'll win. That 2 mile 6 DRF race hasn't been a great guide, but the biggest previous winning margin was 5 lengths. He won by 12 lengths. So he could be a cut above the average Nathaniel Lacey winner. So I think he's an ideal play in running on the Matchbook Exchange. Wait and watch the first half mile or so. And if he is going a really good gallop, then I think he can run the finish out of the others.
Yeah, interesting. Our producer Dan Hussey's pointing out that there are pacemakers potentially there for him too. I feel like if we're going to be dealing with good ground on the Wednesday on that course, his profile, just exactly what Matt's saying, isn't the obvious type. It's not like I don't think he's a good horse at all. He's got bang loads of potential, but I think he'll be beaten by a faster horse who's looking to buck the 0 from 21 shallow trend, sure, but I've just been sweet on the New Lion all season. He's been a good horse for me personally on punting point of view, and I sort of just want to keep on side. I think he's up there with the best novices that Britain have seen for a little while. I think he's a proper animal, and I think he's the ideal profile for this race. Albeit he's a shallow winner, but I've got to have him on side. Even though he's shortened up a good bit now, I'd still be happy enough with 2.87. Brown Advisory then. I'm looking forward to this, Dee. So I basically can't get my head around Ballyburn. It's frying me, and I just need to make a decision on the morning. But you're with.
Yeah, I think Ballyburn is a fast horse. First of all, I don't think he went really, really heavy ground. Even there last year, like he won the race at that used to send up the champion hurdlers, the Turners. I don't really see what he's done wrong this year. Like beaten by Sergino that day, like 2 miles is too short for him, and Sergino was a freak. Like Sergino would have beaten any horse that day. And I think beating Croke Park the last day in that race, look, that was again really impressive. I don't see what he's done wrong. I think he has more class than the rest of them. He was a better hurdler than all the rest of them put together. Stellar Story if it goes soft, I would give Stellar Story a chance of maybe finishing second, but I don't really see why Ballyburn wouldn't win this. It's not like he's going up a mile in trip. He's only going up a small bit in trip. He'll be at the pop round, and I think that once he's thereabouts coming up the hill, I think he'll have far too much speed for him. I think he'll just go away from them. yeah, I'd be fairly strong on him. I had a good look through this race. I wasn't sure about him. I just kept coming back to him. I just think he's the best horse in the race, and this is a decent renewal. I think this is a right good race, but I think he should be better than him.
Matt, what do you think?
I did a bit of research the other day, and
Simon.
and I tried to find a winner of this that had won a Grade 1 2-mile hurdle, because he won the Brave Inca at DRF last year, which was a very strong Grade 1. It wasn't like he was winning an egg and spoon one. I went back to 1990, and not only could I not find a horse that had won a Grade 1 hurdle at around 2 miles, I couldn't even find one who'd run in one. Lord Windermere, who ran the old 2 Mile 2 Delights, the only winner who's run in a race, a Grade 1 hurdle at less than 2.5 miles. So on breeding, Ballyburn should improve for this step up in trip. But none of all those siblings and half-siblings who've been such good stayers, like Noble Endeavour, who's third in the Ultima, had anything like his speed. So actually, do we think he's going to stay? He's a keen going type, and he also tends to land with little momentum. He's got 5 more fences and 3 extra furlongs more than when he won the Moriarty, which I thought he'd won through a turn of foot. So providing that the Elliott battalions get the pace right and make this a proper test of stamina, then I think there's a decent chance he won't stay, and I think there's a decent chance he won't jump well enough, not in terms of making mistakes, but in terms of landing with enough momentum. So that's why I want to take him on. Which horse do I want to take him on with? Kind of depends on the ground a bit. I think if it comes up a sound surface, Gorgeous Tom's interesting. Flew home with the Drimmoor off a steady pace. 3 miles and unknown, but he could improve. If it's soft ground, I sort of abandoned Better Days Ahead, who I was with last season, because I thought his finishing effort wasn't great at the Fort Lee. He looked to hang in behind Croke Park. Maybe Croke Park came across him a bit, and I'm being a bit harsh. Maybe he was idling in the 10 up. So I think I'm probably going to look at what the ground's like, and I hope you're right, Tom, and it's really a nice surface and that they haven't overwatered it, and then it's more likely to be Gorgeous Tom for me.
Okay, that is the Brown Advisory. Moving on to the Coral Cup. Comfort Zone's been put up by Dan Over, I think, earlier in the week. I like Comfort Zone. Joseph Bryant could have a mighty week. Just watched that race back last time, and I thought he did a lot right for coming back for lining up here. Mark Walsh on board for Joseph O'Brien. Even though, even post-trial Nick had a Bourneville rides. But yeah, I quite like Comfort Zone here for Joseph. Previous course when he was a juvenile. Matt, who do you like?
I've got a bit of a short list here. I know DC likes Maxim, so I'll let him make the case for him. My concern about Maxim is they put a £5 claimer on. Now, from what I've seen, Carl Miller looks a really promising rider, but very different from having Jack Kennedy on board. So stat for you, top weights ridden by claimers at the festival, 0 from 59 this century. 17 of the 25 claimer-ridden winners in that time been allocated less than 11 stone. 4 claims are taken into account. It's the mark that matters much more than the weights. I just wish trainers put the best jockeys on the top weights more. The other 2 I'm interested in, Ballyadam, particularly if the ground's good, great festival record. 2nd in the Supreme, 5th in the county, 5th and 2nd in this. He's £4 higher this year, but he only had 1 run, hidden in a minor conditions race. A great way to protect your mark. And he hasn't had his ground for a while at the festival. So he's interesting. The other one is Eagle Fang. So these are the top 3 in the ratings. But actually, the record of horses, 10 of the last 16 winners from the top 8 in the weight. So don't be put off by that. And if you're interested in Eagle Fang, when you're analysing form, remember Oakley Brown can claim his £5 here. He couldn't in the Lismullen and the Long Walk. So if you adjust for that, it makes him look a bit better handicapped, I think.
All right, DC, pick out. Well, I think both of you have been mentioned.
Yeah, fairly sweet Maxim. I think Carl Miller is an excellent jockey. Well worth his £5. And look, they need to put him on him because he's running off top weight, and this give him a bit of a break. Look, he's come in a lot. He was 33s last week before Decs. Now he's been declared. He was about 17.0. He is rock solid 3 mile handicapper. He's top weight because he's arriving here off a win. He beat the Devil's Coachman there the last day, who has subsequently won since. He was supposed to go on the race last year when I kind of fancied him to run well in the stairs hurdle, but he was pulled out because of the deluge, because it was such soft ground. We're not going to have that this year. He's fairly versatile as long as it's not extreme heavy. And look, I don't think you want to really unexpose on this. I think you want something that'll be able to that has experience running in 20 runner handicaps where they go full belt. He'll definitely stay. I think he's a great chance, even off top weight. And Comfort Zone, again, look, he's been put up by loads of people. He put him up as well last week in the handicap one. Just think he's another one that Joseph is lining up for connections. Mark Walsh is on him. I could see him going off even shorter than what he is now. I could see him going off 7.0, maybe even less. I'd say the money will keep coming for him. So I would back him today if you want to back him, and have a bit more on the day if you want. But, yeah, I love those two. Yeah.
That is the Coral Cup looked at. A reminder, we're going to have Twitter Spaces every morning of the festival around about 11 a.m. So keep an eye out on X for our Spaces every morning. We'll have a great team, plenty of whom will be at Cheltenham for you, giving you the latest news from the track and latest bets as well on the day. Do like and subscribe now if you are watching or listening along. And it's the best no-cost way of supporting our content. And give us any selections as well. Put anything in there that you really like. What's your nap of the festival? We'd love to hear from you, and I will read a few out. All right, we'll move on to the cross-country handicap again now. You two, first of all. I'll probably back this horse as well. DC.
Galvin. Matt is much stronger. He'll make a better case, but look, Galvin has course form. Granted, the weights, they gave him an entry early on in the season to make sure he was going to be around this mark, and haven't really run him since. I think course form is the most important thing in this. Ground will be perfect for him. Just wins.
Go on then, Matt.
Yeah, the crucial point here is that the weight matters much less than you would think if you were using ordinary handicap principles. The last 5 winners would have won on a pound a length basis, even if it had been a £20 handicap. And because they go so slowly, it's even easier in practice than that. So it's all about, as DC says, being able to adapt to the course. We know Galvin can do that. He ran second on ground he wouldn't have liked to Delta Work. Looked the best horse, just got outstayed. He's a proper grade 1 horse. He's not a handicapper like Stumptown or Bustleton. And he's still running well. You know, he was good enough to beat Aplutar in a grade 1 the year Aplutar won the Gold Cup. He was a high 160s horse. But he was 4th in the National last year, 2nd in the US in the autumn. Goes really well fresh. He won the 4 miler off a long break since the autumn. So now that Good's appearing in the going description, and they aren't watering this, he's a maximum bet at around 5.5. I'd absolutely lump on him.
Maximum.
I like that. I mean, I absolutely like Galvin. The other thing that is going to make me have a bet is blinkers on Bustleton. He's won twice with blinkers going on. Well, once they went on first time, and the other time he won was that they went back on. He had them on another 2 times going back on, and once he pulled up, and once he was a bit disappointing as well. But look, I've got to flesh out my case. But I do think they will, particularly around here as well, around the nature of this cross-country course. I think that's having those back on is a really big plus. So I'm positive about that. I think he might get more of a positive ride as well as a result. And he's had a couple of times here. He ran over hurdles as well for this. They managed to get the mark down to 138. I think it was a solid bet, 8.0 with the blinkers back on for Bustleton. That's the cross country. We move on to the champion chase. DC and I are with John Bond. Don't you think, DC, that the great thing about John Bond is that he's less good around Cheltenham? So actually, you're getting a decent price against an absolute like what a weak division of a champion chase this is. I mean, John Bond, like he's give this horse some respect. He's outrageously talented. I think he's a really good bet.
Is he less good around Cheltenham? Is he really?
100%. As Aidan Coleman says he reckons he's 85% of his best around Cheltenham, and I mean he's ridden him enough times, right? He's definitely the horse is below par around Cheltenham. Like I know he got a forceful ride in a Supreme, where they tried to do something with Constitution Hill. And it backfired. The rearranged slur when it all went tits up, yes. And then his first start this season at Cheltenham, he probably needed it. And the Champion Chase, was it, or was it the Arkle where he got beat by the double green? He was below par. I think he's less good, less effective around Cheltenham. Yes, he's not as good there as he is going flat right-handed around a Sandown. Definitely not. But he's good enough to win this, and because of the Cheltenham doubts, you're getting a better price. Sorry, Dees, you lit me up there.
That's okay. I'm glad to see someone so passionate about John Bon. I'm a massive John Bon fan as well. I'd say he's been unlucky around Cheltenham. Like beaten by Constitution Hill and Supreme. When he was beaten by El Fabiolo on the Arkle, the stable weren't in great form. I remember that year. I said actually in the podcast about a week before that the stable weren't in great form. I think they had a bad year. Same last year, didn't even run last year. He was pulled out. I think this is the first year where he's going to arrive in Cheltenham, and it's just been an absolutely perfect season. He has demolished everything he's come up against. He is a supreme athlete of a horse. And yeah, I love him, and I hope to see him win. Yeah, I think he's just a brilliant jumper. I just think he's been unlucky on Cheltenham, and redemption isn't high.
John Bon love is what you don't get much on the preview circuit, but there's plenty of it here. Dan Hussey, our producer, says Solness wins from the front. Can't, not around here. You go around the outside at Leopardstown all you want, but here, for him, I think he might stare up that hill and do a little cry. Matt, what do you think?
I do think John Bon's slightly less good. He's certainly no beef or salmon. He's effective at Cheltenham, but I think he's been sort of maybe 4 or 5 pounds less good than at Sandown. The positive for John Bon is the thing you lads have touched on, which is that he comes here in brilliant form. When he was beaten in the Supreme, he hadn't been great in the Rossington Main. When he was beaten in the Arkle, he hadn't been great in the Kingmaker. Everything's gone well this year. But to me, his best form was in the Tingle Creek this year. I don't think beating an 11-year-old Energumene on good ground is that level of form. And if he's a sort of a low to mid 170s horse at his best, and he's a few pounds lower here, he's about 170. Now that might well be good enough to win, but it's not bomb-proof. And the one I want to take him on with at a big price is Quilixios, who's about 29.0. He flopped at DRF, but Henry's were out of form, came home sore. Vibes are much stronger now, said he'd been working well at home. He didn't like the testing ground in the Tingle Creek, I don't think. But he was still 8 lengths second to John Bon. So he's got place claims on that, especially if John Bon isn't quite as good here and Quilixios is better on better ground. He thumped Marine Nationale, who goes really well fresh. And Barry Connell was very bullish before that race at Naas. He won by 7.5 lengths, giving him £4. So given he's got excuses for his last 2 runs, I think he should be much shorter. And the vibes are so often, as we mentioned about Henry's, are important. So I'd be inclined to back him now, take the 29.0, because if he is going to run well and possibly even win, then he's going to go off a lot shorter.
All right, that's the Champion Chase. We move on to the Grand Annual. DC, you've already put up Unexpected Party on the preview. You've got another one, the handicaps preview. You've got another one with him.
Yeah, I put up the total on the handicap preview. Just go back to Unexpected Party's form again this year. He's this year's Langer Dan. Even the last day there, like he's come down 2 pounds since being beaten out of the screen by John Bon there on the Star Chase. The last time there, he was beaten by Matata at Windsor, and he finished first of the non-triers in the race. He was ahead of Cribilli and Harper's Brook, and they've done an unbelievable job to get him here down a few pounds and not running off top weight. I think he'll take a load of beating. And the other one then is Western Zephyr for Charlie Longsdon. Sean Bowen on board as well. Brilliant jockey booking. This horse is actually a second season novice chaser, so he is both unexposed and experience at the same time, if he can be. He not much form last year, but he was given wind surgery over summer and came back probably a stone better. Won on debut with Carlisle, absolutely running away from up the hill, pinged the last, very eye-catching. Then he finished second to Loda Sud in the Arkle trial in the November meeting. Again, ran very well. He's really good jumper. And it ran once more at Christmas, didn't come anywhere, probably ground was too soft for him. I think that good to soft ground is going to bring out the best in him. He's a massive price. You're going to be getting 5, 6, might be getting 7 places in this. I think he's probably under the radar because it's Charlie Longsdon horse, but he's having a pretty good season as well, and his horses before better ground. So I'm willing to give him a shout there at 34.0, Western Zephyr.
2 I'm going to have in this are 2 with a sort of classic grand annual profile, which worked last year with Unexpected Party. Just another one because he's my best long shot of the day. So sorry to our producer because I've just thrown that in, but that's third time lucky because I just feel like he's an ex-Dan Skelton horse, but maybe Fergal O'Brien's doing what Dan did with Unexpected Party. I don't know. He might have just gone, but he's been beaten a total of about 75 legs on 3 starts this year. But as a result, he is, 149 when he ran in this couple of years ago. So he's £15 lower. I just, he is capable here. I think it'd be silly not to have him on side given the profile. The other one's So Scottish. Tongue tie off, win done, normal cheek pieces on the face of it, a poor season. But and I think this is a pace at this trip is probably what he wants. I thought it was more obvious than 11.0 So Scottish with him being aimed at this race. So I want those 2 on side. Champion bumper, just you, Matt Tombs.
Yeah, and just on the Grand Daniel, Western Zephyr and Third Time Lucky are 2 on my shortlist. Definitely agree with you lads on those. I mentioned Bambino Fever when we did the trail the other day. A couple of updates. Firstly, switch from Diesel, Frank the form from DRF by winning at Nace the other day, so that's good. Second is that Jodie Townend rides. And so ignoring the COVID year when amateurs couldn't take part, amateurs have won 10 of the last 15 renewals, including 6 of the last 7. Now, Patrick Mullins is 4 of those, but John Gleeson, Katie Walsh, Brian O'Connell, Robbie McNamara have all won. So punters, unless Patrick's on, because that's the Mullins number 1, assuming he can do the weight, punters want to side with the pros. And that's normally a good call, but the Irish Bumper horse is ridden by the amateurs almost all the time. So they have advantage of knowing their horses. I'd be optimistic Jodie can deliver if Bambino Fever's good enough. But she's about 8.0 at the moment, and I'd expect her to drift. So I'd be waiting to back her nearer the time.
That's just one view on the champion bumper then. Okay, Matchbook Zero long shot, hour before each race. Best place for a win bet, giving you most likely to get best odds. Third time lucky for me in the John Jensen Grand Annual, 26.0. Matt, your long shot is?
Quilixios, 29.0 in the champion chase. My best long shot of the whole week.
DC?
Maxim in the Coral Cup.
Lays, Matt Tombs. I know what you're laying.
Ballyburn.
Ballyburn in the Brown Advisory. DC, your lay.
Final Demand in the Tormers.
And best bets. Mine's John Bon in the Queen Mother. Big love for John Bon. Matt?
Wednesday's going to be a big day for me because Galvin's my best bet of the week at around 5.5 in the cross country.
Okay. So you got your bet, basically your best bet with Galvin, your best long shot with Quilixios, and probably your best lay with Ballyburn, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Of all week?
Yeah. So it's Wednesday could make or break me this week.